Hello everyone, we got some updates on the MiG project. I've got some material coming hopefully very soon for some sheeting. I got the light ply in. I've made, in my opinion, a ton of parts, but it's really not that many. I've made a lot of patterns and iterations of the parts by hand and then by laser. I come to find out there's a lot of delicate parts that it's going to be hard to cut by hand and have them match. Doable, absolutely. Taking way more time than I currently have at the moment, absolutely. But, you know, either way, the show is all about rebuilding an airplane, and how it gets there kind of really doesn't matter. I mean, it's the same exact skills on assembly, just a different path on how the parts get there. But it's you'll see that in how I kind of generated some of the parts by using a pattern, uploading it in AutoCAD by hand and drawing everything out, and then running that part. And after you make that part, you gotta adjust it because it's never perfect. And I've had one get really close, and that was kind of one of those woohoo moments. But yeah, it's there's a lot of midnight oil burn on these things when you're trying to match something that already existed versus just creating from scratch. I think if I was just to totally build an airplane from scratch, it would be a lot faster. However, it wouldn't probably be as challenging. But here we go. There will be a part 3, I believe. It's going to be probably the completion video, as there's really not that much left to fix on the airplane. But there'll be a few things. Right now the airplane is, she would look like she's not gonna make it, but I had to take it way down. Yeah, as you'll see in the included videos and pictures, I had to take it way down to the bare frame in some spots, and there's not much left of her, but it's gonna be solid when I get done with it, and hopefully a good solid flying airplane. So my idea for the way I want to do the engine thrust tube and everything should work out fine. The way I got it kind of mocked up, it looks all right, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll be seeing that bird in the air. So like I said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Again in the garage, and working on the Black Horse Models MiG-29. It was my buddy's, and met a unfortunate end with him due to a tailpipe failure. It uses basically a single turbine to go through a twin exhaust bifurcated pipe, and the pipe basically burned a hole right in the middle and caught the tail end of the airplane on fire. You can kind of see it in the couple pictures there. It is, however, I felt a rebuildable airplane. Like I said, it unfortunately did crash, but I did kind of a little bit more damage to the inside of the airplane by having to pull some bulkheads and formers out that were broken and try to glue them back together so I could make a solid part and make a good pattern. The nose did break off technically after. I mean, it was very minimal amount of wood holding it together. The peel and stick shrink wrap is what was holding it together. I felt like it's a rebuildable airplane, mainly because the wing and the tail and a lot of were not damaged as much. In fact, they have like just scuff marks. The main concerns of mine is the fact the fuselage didn't have a lot of cross the fuselage reinforcement. In fact, I mean, it was basically, you got maybe 4 bulkheads that actually kept the fuselage sides from just falling over. And there's a big hatch in the middle of those. So that's kind of one reason why when basically you pull the wing tube out and took the hatch off, it kind of opened up like a Thanksgiving turkey. The nose broke off in one section after I cut the covering, or peeled some of the covering off the nose, because it did crack like right in the middle, kind of like the Titanic. And that was because when it hit the ground, it bounced kind of up, and then it kind of on the ground, because now the elevators went from full up after the pull out when it hit the dirt to basically kind of straight and somewhat kind of down. So it kind of just right there at the very end, and lost its nose. It actually flew pretty well, unpowered and under its own control, with the tail servos burn up because of the fire in the tail. Like I said, the main concern is those structural components, beefing that up and keeping the nose attached to the main chunk of the fuselage. I hope that this project turns out really well. I got some light plying from National Balsa. They were a great company to deal with. main other issue I do have is going to be creating a single exit between the two exhausts for the turbine, because in my opinion, I know it would have lost a lot of scale things, and a lot of turbines can do a bifurcated pipe, but the tailpipe to me did not look like it was put together very well. I think that's why it blew a hole. And it was really thin, and usually, like, if you're gonna have a bifurcated pipe on a turbine, you probably, and it's really close to the exhaust cone on the actual jet engine, I feel like you would probably welded the seam together, instead of just having like a bent piece of metal between two pipes. So, other than that, I got servos that are coming in. In fact, I think they're going to be delivered today from AliExpress. That's going to be an adventure in its own. But I've done a little bit of research, so hopefully my research proves good. And I got a couple of components I've already laser cut, as you've seen previously in the video. And I'm going to try to slowly but surely remove what's left glued into the nose cone here. I have very few small little splinters that are stuck to the bottom of the skin, and I got to remove those to kind of make the last few forward bulkheads. I'm going to draw them out, and I'm going to cut them out by hand, because I don't have time to scan them into AutoCAD, redraw them, smooth them out, print 5,000 different versions, because I ended up making 3 or 4 laser cut cardboard templates of the forward tray that's important to help line them up. And I mean, doing that for just one bulkhead kind of defeats the purpose. So I will rebuild some of it by hand and old school modeling, techniques. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to work out, and I look forward to it.